Hey, e-commerce Fastlane listeners, the holiday season is just around the corner, and now is the perfect time to level up your inventory planning. Now, you can join our 7-day inventory planning bootcamp and learn how to keep your stock optimized, your costs down, and your profits soaring, all just in 1 week. Now, each day you'll receive a quick, actionable email packed with expert tips and strategies to help you avoid stockouts, reduce excess inventory, and drive more sales. Now, it's designed to be simple and efficient. Now, each lesson takes less time than it is to finish your morning coffee. Now, during the bootcamp, you're going to gain valuable insights on assessing and analyzing your inventory performance, intelligent demand forecasting, strategies to reduce your excess stock, ordering inventory on a budget, evaluating technology solutions to inventory planning and management, and implementing a continuous improvement mindset. Now, are you ready to ensure that your store is stocked and prepared for the holidays? This bootcamp will equip you with the essential skills to set appropriate stock levels, to improve demand forecasting, and optimize your inventory management practices. You'll learn how to prevent cash from being tied up in excess stock while avoiding costly stockouts that can frustrate customers and impact your bottom line. Now, don't let the holiday rush catch you off guard. Take control of your inventory and set yourself up for success for a smooth and more profitable season. Now, this bootcamp is perfect for e-commerce entrepreneurs, especially those that are powered by Shopify who want to maximize their holiday sales potential while minimizing their inventory-related headaches. Now, you can sign up now at ecommercefastlane.com/inventory-planning, and you can start your journey to smarter inventory management today. Now, don't miss this opportunity to transform your inventory planning before the holiday rush.
You're listening to E-commerce Fastlane, the podcast show to help you build, manage, grow, and scale a successful and thriving company, powered by Shopify. Listen to real conversations with partners and subject matter experts as they share proven practical strategies, platforms, and the best Shopify apps to help you accelerate your business. The time is now for you to improve efficiencies, grow revenue, profit, and lifetime customer loyalty. Please welcome your host, startup founder, and strategic advisor, Steve Hutt.
Welcome back to another episode of E-commerce Fastlane. I'm your host, Steve Hutt, and today we're going to explore what I want to call the fascinating corner of e-commerce world that you likely haven't really considered yet. Like, imagine where your favorite social media influencers aren't like promoting products, but are actually running their own mini stores kind of within like your favorite brand's website. Like, this literally is not science fiction. It's actually a reality right now, and that's what my guest today is creating. His name is Gary Garofalo, and he's the CEO and founder of a company called LoudCrowd. Now, Gary and his team, I'd argue, they're kind of reinventing the traditional kind of influencer marketing model, and they're creating what they call creator storefronts. And so I know you might be thinking, hey, wait, isn't this just another affiliate program? But it's not. It's where it gets really interesting is how they're able to not just link influencers to products, but they're actually giving them their own personalized shoppable spaces so that, and this is actually on a brand's website. So it's like a TikTok shop, except it's keeping customers kind of, not on the social platform, but it's actually bringing them over to the branded store. So the approach is very, very interesting. I guarantee you've never heard of this before. But there is so much success that's happening because of it. And like right now, being in Q4, we know there's hungry shoppers out there. We know there's opportunity to make money. And that's why I had to have Gary on today to kind of talk about what it is he's building, why he's building it. So hi, Gary. Welcome to E-commerce Fastlane.
Hey, Steve.
So let's unpack this, because I think we got to start right from the beginning. And like, how did you come up with this approach to, I call it bridging the gap between social media and e-commerce conversions? Because we just want to understand the whole idea behind giving an influencer their own storefront. That's just such a unique concept.
Yeah, I'd say there's a couple of steps that we've taken to get there. It really started out, so LoudCrowd started in 2018, and the first version of our platform wasn't yet an e-commerce tool. We really started as I would say the first true ambassador management platform. We saw back in 2018, there was just a big opportunity where most brands doing influencer marketing, they were using influencer marketing tools that were really designed for one-to-one interactions and larger influencers. And then on the other side, you had, traditional affiliate marketing tools, but I don't think most people consider that a really strong fit for brand advocates or anything like that. And so we really set out in 2018 to build the first ambassador management platform that really just targeted brand advocates, nano influencers, micro influencers, and made it possible for brands to really, really scale ambassador programs, get their brand ambassadors to create more social content and just talk about them, build really cool social communities. And so we were doing that for a few years. And then, what really started to happen was, I would say, this kind of creator economy started to burgeon where more and more people, even if they didn't have large audiences, were starting to consider being a creator more of a career. And they got a little bit more focused on performance. They got a little bit more focused on monetization. And we just saw that as a huge opportunity. And so, back in 2021, we wanted to start monetizing this really huge community of micro influencers and nano influencers we were building. So we looked at affiliate technology, and what we ultimately thought was affiliate technology, like traditional affiliate technology, can really, really suck. The standard workflow for that is you've got a creator on social media, they're going to create a post, reel, story, whatever, and they're going to drive traffic back to a site using a link or something like that. And what you've done is you've completely switched the context of the end consumer. This is a person that's scrolling around social media, checking out what their, the people they follow and their friends are doing. It's really a very people-centric activity. And now you're just shipping them to a website and you're asking them to figure out how to navigate that website, shop for different product categories, and potentially make a purchase. It was a really, really poor kind of disjointed consumer experience. And that ultimately manifests with really, really poor conversion rates for affiliate links. And that's kind of what the industry has been for a long time for creators. So we really saw this opportunity where we said, you can't change the context that much for a creator. If you have a creator creating content on Instagram or TikTok or one of these places, and you're going to send them back to an e-com website, you want to maintain that context. You want to send them back to a creator's own page and allow them to really shop, that continued story on the brand's e-com. And so we were really the first ones to pioneer, building what we call creator storefronts on a brand's e-com. We also think it's really, really important for D2C brands to get this traffic back to their e-com. So that's another really large component of it. But I would say that's the story. We really have been bullish on, I would say, brand advocates, ambassador marketing, micro influencers for a long time. And now it's just so apparent in 2024 that these people are so powerful at driving performance marketing. That was kind of the natural extension there.
It's interesting too, though, because I know that some of the brands I manage at Shopify, they were always worried about, are in fact these influencers being paid correctly for their work effort? And because a lot of things were happening where maybe they were being overpaid, things like coupon leaks and incorrect session tracking and all these different things that were happening. So why is your solution a little bit different than having to worry about some of these legacy technologies that clearly didn't work or there was blatant fraud going on?
Yeah. So affiliate, I would say, was built long, long before social media was built. And so there's been a couple iterations of affiliate marketing over the years, but I don't think any of them in kind of the traditional sense of affiliate have fit the creator use case particularly well. There's a lot of problems with it. One of them was the one that I highlighted in that just the actual tools, whether we're talking affiliate codes or links, they weren't designed very well for monetizing creators.
Right.
Code leakage is another really, really big problem. That's not just a problem with creators. It's a problem with traditional publishers as well.
Yeah.
I would say it's really exciting that issue in particular has gotten more attention in the last 12 months than it ever has. And I think brands are more focused than ever. There's also a bunch of really cool small companies that are working on preventing code leakage. So I'm really glad that is something that's more top of mind for everybody, because you did have a lot of creators that we're being overpaid. And it's okay to be paying affiliates and creators, right? But we want the creators that are working the hardest and driving the most traffic to be the ones that are getting compensated the most. I would say our solution kind of brings together a lot of those concepts where, number one, you don't even necessarily need affiliate codes. Like a creator storefront is effectively an affiliate link or a link.
Right.
So you really are focused on the high quality traffic of, hey, this person is driving referrals of, whether it's their friends or whether it's their audience. These are the actual referrals they're driving. It's kind of very easy on our platform to see and make sure that those people are high quality. And then making sure that we're giving those, consumers the absolute best possible experience that they can get, and as personalized as they can get. And that all happens in the context of the creator. So it definitely brings together a bunch of those comments, Steve.
I could see the personalization side of it too. It's what's interesting is that, like, I think the creator, typically the way they're doing it, even with a TikTok shop, it's just like they produce content and they hope it's going to convert, and they feel that maybe with the Shopify connector, it's going to go over to the brand, and then the brand's going to fulfill the order on behalf of the creator and get their slice of the revenue and these sorts of things. I think social selling is a really interesting component, but it also argued, I think some of the success that a lot of your creators have felt is that they're actually getting into a dedicated channel by promoting directly on the brand. Like, it just seems to elevate the quality and the trustworthiness versus having these little kind of microtransactions happening somewhere out in the ether versus maybe happening dedicated on the brand's website. Because it's almost like a brand wouldn't necessarily always accept every creator, only the best ones and the ones that really resonate with the business, that they're able to even have these stores that you create. So let's talk a bit about that.
Yeah, I think it helps consumers, and I think it helps creators. I think on the consumer side, it really helps them feel more confidence that this, there's just a lot of affiliate noise in the world.
Yeah.
And when you land on a creator storefront, you very much see that this is a partnership between a brand and a creator. This is a partnership that both sides take seriously. And it just gives you a little bit more confidence that the flow that you came in from, the endorsement that you're getting right now from this creator is actually a genuine one. And it really goes both ways. So I do think, like you said, it kind of cuts through a lot of the noise for the consumer. And also, like, let's just be frank, whether you're a brand advocate or whether you're, a macro influencer, it's really cool being on a brand's website. That builds your brand, that, validates you in a lot of ways. And we see tons and tons of cases where big or small influencers are really being very, very competitive to try to get, very prime real estate on a brand's website. They want to make sure that their storefronts are featured in a number of different places because it really just helps them build their brand. So I think it's really, really valuable for both sides. And then I think if we can even take, one step back from it, I just very much think that has to be a really important component of where e-commerce is going. E-commerce, since it's come out, since, kind of the first versions of it, it has been all around product categories and how do we make a really, really focused story, because so much of the traffic was driven by search. It's how do we create a very focused story and help people, navigate to this very acute product that they're trying to buy. That's not really how people shop in 2024. We see that where there's more commerce than ever happening on social media platforms. People want to be inspired, and just bringing creators to your website is going to help consumers be inspired in ways they were really never inspired before. So I think it solves a lot of problems for, both the consumer, creator, and the brand.
Yeah, I love it. So can you walk us through just how you connect to Shopify and how do you create this creator storefront? Is there a Shopify app and you connect it, and just walk us through the process?
Yeah, from the brand side of things, it's really simple. If you're a Shopify brand, we've got a Shopify app. Basically, you turn on our Shopify app, you're going to be able to build one page on your e-commerce, and you can style that page. So whether you're Mary Ruth Organics or whether you're Little Bipsy or no matter what industry you're on, you're going to build one page and one style of creator storefront, one template for your influencers, and then they're going to basically sign up for your ambassador program, your affiliate program, whatever you're branding it as. When they sign up, they're automatically going to get sent their storefront as soon as they sign up. And then it's up to the influencer. Like when they get their page, it's ready to go. They can start sharing it immediately, but it's really up to the influencer to go and personalize their page if they want to personalize it, choose all of their favorite products, tag their products in their social content, create collections for people. If you're a supplements brand, you might want to have breakfast supplements or post-workout, things like that. Just make it really, really easy for your audience to get to the type of products that they're going to need as quickly as possible.
So then they have these storefronts, they can start promoting them right away. And then I guess the brand makes deals with the creator as far as what great looks like from a payment perspective. So it's like, hey, for every conversion or every this much revenue equals this, or is it a flat rate? I'm just curious on kind of how you monetize the creator, and can they be modified based on the creator?
Yeah, you can be. Typically what our brands want to do is they want to create like a template incentive structure for all their creators, or maybe, several tiers for several different types of creators. I'll use, one of our clients, Melinda Maria, as an example, amazing jewelry brand out of LA. They've got their kind of everyone program, which has a specific commission rate and then specific rewards built into, different steps of the program. Then they've got their VIP program. Then they've got their macro influencer program. And each of those have different collections of incentives, et cetera, just so they can handle, thousands of creators at a time, as opposed to, individually managing every creator. Now, if you do want to specifically set a creator's incentive or specifically, adjust somebody's commission or send them a particular product, you can do that.
Okay.
But the system is ultimately designed for scale, so you can manage, we've got clients that have tens of thousands of creators in there.
I see.
And you just wouldn't be able to manage, that many individual commissions.
Yeah, definitely. And then how do the creators get paid based on a successful transaction?
Yeah. So if they make a sale through the storefront, that sale is going to go through and then they're going to get, whatever the agreed upon commission was. So it's just a standard affiliate workflow.
Okay.
Brands can also build added incentives on top of that. So if they want to have welcome gifts to a program and see their creators with some product, they can do that. Okay. If they want to say, hey, if you sell a certain amount or if you create a certain amount of content, we'll give you additional rewards, they can do that. So there's all kinds of layers that you could put in there to make sure you're getting as much engagement from your creators as possible. But I would say that the foundation of these programs is usually performance and affiliate.
I see. And then so is there like a finance component to this, meaning that, hey, add your PayPal account and send us an invoice, or we're going to send you the money? Or is it just a separate workflow where at month end, you kind of export the data out and then manually process your transactions?
Yeah, good question. At the end of the month, you'll basically upload that month's commissions into your payments account.
Yeah.
And then it'll automatically get sent out. So, hey, we sent, somebody earned 5,000 in commissions, or your whole program earned 5,000 in commissions at the end of this month. Upload $5,000. As soon as you do that, it's going to get dispersed to, all your creators.
I see. Okay, cool. Let's talk about some numbers here. And because KPIs are important for a lot of brands. And so a creator-driven kind of commerce strategy, let's call it. How does LoudCrowd kind of look at these stats? And then, I guess want to know what success or what great looks like. What sort of KPIs should you be monitoring for these creators?
Yeah, really, really good question. So for us, most of our brands are primarily focused on revenue. Okay. And maximizing revenue is something that everybody wants to do. That involves, hey, we got to get as many creators as possible in a program. We obviously have to empower them as much as possible to sell as much as possible. So I'd say for pretty much everybody, revenue is going to be the thing that we focus on. LoudCrowd internally is going to be focused on, I would say a couple of additional things on top of that. We're really focused on conversion rates. So we want to make sure that the conversion rates of the storefronts are going to be really, really high. They're going to be, several multiples of what you would expect from another affiliate program. That's how we make sure that we're providing value to our customers. And then I would also say our customers also really, really love the ancillary benefits of just getting way more social content. I would say when you look at LoudCrowd compared to, kind of another affiliate tool or another influencer tool, because our foundation was built so much in, we're building ambassador programs, we're really trying to drive UGC. Typically, when a brand signs up for LoudCrowd, they're going to be getting a lot more content from their customers and really their whole community. So that tends to be something else that our customers gravitate towards.
I see. So I guess there'd be SEO benefits in a brand having multiple storefronts that have been modified by creator. Can you able to talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, it's actually a really high level of interest for LoudCrowd, and I think some of our brands are starting to kind of figure that out.
Yeah.
So there are SEO benefits, and I think it actually gets bigger as the creators get bigger. But there are actual SEO benefits of when you have a creator storefront on your site. The really obvious one is, let's say you were working with a mega influencer like a Kim Kardashian. Being able to have somebody search Kim Kardashian shopping and having your brand pop up is actually a pretty big deal. Yeah. I would say we don't talk about that enough. LoudCrowd as a company doesn't talk about that enough with our customers. And we don't make that probably as visible as we should as a benefit. But we definitely have noticed that a lot of these pages rank. Mm-hmm. And I think it becomes even more important when you, like I said, you start talking about larger influencers as opposed to nano and micro influencers. Larger influencers are going to get, some pretty real search traffic. So being able to direct that to your site is kind of a big deal.
Yeah. And I always tell people, and people know this, I think more and more now, it's the organic traffic has kind of the highest ROI. I mean, it's a long play for sure, but it has the highest ROI just because it costs you nothing to just have to be there in organic search. And when you're talking about like a branded search around a person's name or the company and that kind of association, and then having those pages being followed and indexed in Google, it's pretty powerful.
Yeah, and it really is a benefit for all parties, right? Because if you think about it, it's probably an opportunity for creators that they're not paying attention to. Like, I don't know really any creators that are thinking about their SEO seriously, but they should be, because they built a brand and they could be monetizing it. So if, your storefront is getting, it's getting indexed and it's getting put on Google, that is potentially helping you monetize when you're not engaging, but to the brand, it's also high quality traffic, because this wasn't, they didn't steal traffic from the brand. This is somebody that's searching for this particular creator. So I just think everybody benefits from it.
Yeah.
And it is just kind of an unspoken, like, influencer marketers and influencers are not thinking about SEO at all. So this is just like a really cool added benefit.
So my next question is around data privacy, GDPR, CCPA. I mean, you can rattle off all these different acronyms around that. Data privacy is really important. Who actually owns the data from a creator's storefront, and like what's being shared with the creator, what's being owned by the brand? I just want to understand the longevity around it.
Yeah. Really, really good question. So this is all, because this is on the site, this is all brand owned data. You're on their e-com property and you're agreeing to all their terms. Right. So when you buy something, the brand is going to capture that data. That data is obviously really important for the brand. And, there's a lot of reasons they want to drive as much D2C business as they can. But brand is going to capture all that information. What gets shared with the creator is basically how much they've sold. And then there's kind of analytics in addition to that, like, hey, here are our top products and things like that, just things that are going to help them sell more. It's really interesting you bring this up, because I actually got in I wouldn't say heated debate, but I got in a little bit of a debate with one of the CEOs of one of our clients recently. And they were, I'm not going to say what affiliate platform, but they were using a different affiliate platform that basically showed the creators every single, like the PII, like the email addresses and all of that of every single person that had bought via their link. And so she really wanted that functionality. And we pushed back a little bit on that, saying that, at scale, that really is kind of a gray area unless you do very explicit things to make sure that you are allowed, this is the brand's data. You have to do very explicit things to make sure you're able to share that data, with the actual creator. So to me, it's important for the brand to, number one, be a good steward of their consumers' data, but also, like, you just got to remember, that data is valuable. You're capturing that data so you can put them in retention flows and offer high quality marketing, back to that person. Sharing that with too many partners is going to dilute the value of that. And also, if you lose that partner, then, they're potentially going to be selling against you in the future. So I do think it's kind of important for the brands to, keep control of that. And, we want to share as much as we can with the creator, but there's limitations from what you can do with privacy law.
Yeah. I'd agree about the loyalty and the lifetime value and stuff like that. I mean, that's the whole profitability. When you think about it, even like just regular paid acquisition right now, net new customers, usually the brand's at net zero for profit. It's like, well, what am I doing to get the second and third sale? And, I'd argue that, hey, maybe the creator's going to get paid instead of Meta and Google or TikTok, but then in exchange for that payment, that commission, now the brand gets the opportunity to be able to locate and build a business around that first sale to get the second and third sale.
Yeah, exactly. So it's really, really important. And affiliate is a really efficient channel for that first sale. I would say probably the most efficient channel for that first sale. But still, brands they're not really building businesses around one-time purchasers. You need to have strong customer retention. And this is an important component of that.
So I want to draw some comparisons just to be like transparent, but we have your creator storefronts, but then there's also some popularity growing around TikTok Shop and or even Amazon influencer storefront. And so maybe you can kind of like draw some comparisons. Maybe you're part of the whole kind of growth of an overall economy, but I just want to hear how you fit into the mix compared to others. Yeah,
and so I'd say really good question. First of all, on the top level, they're all related. These are all social commerce products, and they're really successful right now because basically the consumer is choosing social commerce. They're saying this is a really, really powerful, consumer experience, and this is how we want to shop. So Amazon is investing really, really heavily in Amazon influencer storefronts. And then obviously we all know TikTok Shops has just gone completely to the moon, over the last 12 months. So all really, really exciting social commerce products. I think the question is, and the question has to be for brands, which of these channels make sense to us? And I want to put an emphasis on that word channel, because that's really what it is. If you're a brand, you have, and even before TikTok was around, you had to make a decision as to whether or not if you're going to sell on Amazon. Are you going to be focused on D2C, or are we going to be, focused on Amazon? Those are two very different channels. And there's, a Venn diagram for brands that are really, really effective selling on Amazon. There's a Venn diagram for, brands that are really, really effective selling D2C. They're not always or even usually the same type of brand. It is a completely different type of business to be able to sell on one versus the other. That's exactly how I think about Amazon influencer storefronts and TikTok shops.
Okay.
TikTok shops have really, really taken off. And I think for many, many brands, it has been eye-opening on how much top-line revenue you can drive. You can easily get your products, it's going to cost you a lot of money and a lot in product seeding, but you can easily, get your products kind of picked up by thousands and thousands of creators, which is super, super exciting.
Right.
They're going to be able to sell your product. The question is that really, a viable and profitable channel for you? And so many times we talk to brands where, hey, their top line revenue is really through the roof, but their average order value is $25, even though it's usually $75 to $100 on their site. That's just what TikTok shop is. And that's who the consumer is. The AOV is typically around, $20 to $30. And then on top of that, you also have many consumers don't even realize what the brand is when they're buying a product. They're buying products and they're not necessarily buying the brand. If you don't do a great job with your packaging, they might not have any idea who you are. And so after the transaction, you sold something at a quarter of your AOV, you didn't build a lot of brand equity in the process. And TikTok also is not going to give you, a person's email address or really any ability to retarget this person. So you can't do any loss leading with, driving a lot of top line revenue, because it's just not possible. You don't have anyone in a retention flow. So the question is, can you be profitable with kind of a first time purchase on TikTok shops? And I just think that's a question that every brand should answer by themselves, but it's not an obvious yes. And so brands really, really need to think about TikTok shop as a unique channel that's got its own set of economics. It's got a super, super exciting consumer base. And there's all kinds of new customers for you on TikTok, but you just have to make sure that you're going to be able to acquire real customers and not make a one-time sale.
It's interesting. Just literally a few hours ago, I recorded a podcast episode with someone who understands this industry, and his comment was, "Hey, it's hot right now, and it's been hot for the last 12 months." He says, "But honestly, long term, I don't believe this is going to be hot 2 years from now." You just think of just how technology advances, and people get bored of certain things overnight. And that's why young people are not on Facebook, because they think that's where their grandparents are, and that's just not for them. There's always going to be something new and growing and evolving. And right now, that is interesting channel, but if you think it's a long-term growth channel, it's probably not for you.
Yeah. And it is powerful though. I will 100% say TikTok shops are extremely powerful.
Right.
I just think the ideal potential brand for TikTok is probably not one that we all think about day to day when we're thinking about, the D2C brands that we're familiar with. It's probably a different business model if you're going to be focused on TikTok shops. And that's okay, but it's just a little bit of a different model. And it's probably not, going to be, a premium product is probably not going to be a product or a brand that tries to build any brand equity. It's just going to be different. And I think to your point, while that is really, really hot right now with consumers, because it is amazing, amazing technology. It is super freaking cool. Every part of that app, from a creator's perspective, from a brand's perspective, and from a there's a lot of really cool stuff in there. I question to what you were saying earlier, in 2 years, are people still going to be really aggressively looking for, let's say, very discounted, I don't want to say low quality, because we have clients on TikTok shops that are amazing products, but products that are not traditionally focused on delivering kind of sustained value, that's just tends to be what does well on TikTok shops. And I think at some point, to your point, consumers might start selecting against that when they realize that these aren't the products that they were really hoping they would be.
Yeah. I want to talk about a case study. I kind of creeped on the website kind of before recording. You have a lot of, this is just the featured case studies. There's lots more likely that haven't even been published yet that you can probably talk about. But is there anyone of note that said, hey, here's a Shopify brand. They, wanted to get involved with you and, decided to execute on it. And I just would like to understand the metrics. And I don't know if you can talk about them publicly or not, but just nice to get warm and fuzzy saying that there are people, a lot of brands right now that are not doing what your technology allows it to be done. This is not how they're interacting with their creators now. But and you have a lot of case studies of people that have done it and they're being very successful because of it. And so I'd love to hear a story about that.
Yeah. I mean, we've got a bunch of case studies. Anything on the website, I'm more than happy to talk about. I'd say the ones that I would highlight from Shopify, just to name a couple of verticals. We've got Little Bipsy, which is an amazing baby brand. We've got Passion Footwear, which is a really, really cool fashion brand. And Melinda Maria, which is an amazing jewelry brand.
Yeah.
Of all the most interesting stories, I think they all have really, really cool stories. Melinda Maria is probably my favorite. This is a really cool jewelry brand out of LA. And there's just a lot of special things about what they've built. I would say number one, I think, storefronts for them in particular have been really powerful. The conversion rates of their storefronts are off the chart and significantly better than even that they're getting on the rest of the site. Usually an affiliate conversion rate is going to be lower than, your organic search and things like that. And their conversion rates are just off the chart because they've curated such an amazing group of influencers and creators. But that program is special for a lot of reasons. I would say number one, they've got an amazing team and they've built just such a strong creator community. I think that's a really important aspect for anybody building an influencer or a creator program is, how do you make it cool and how do you make it something that people want to be part of and something people want to engage with? Melinda Maria and Mackenzie from that team just does an unbelievable job of being really passionate about the program, building really passionate and authentic relationships. And so that's really just taken off. They get crazy referrals to help grow their program and just their numbers have been off the charts. They've been 10xing, year over year. It's just been an amazing story. So it really is just a story of how focused and passionate their team is. They do an amazing job on kind of building an awesome creator community.
So, we're in Q4 right now. Is now a good time? I mean, I say that because marketers and founders right now are wearing ridiculous amounts of hats. They've already made kind of product investments and they forecasted what they believe to be a reasonable forecast for this Q4, certainly for BFCM and then through the holiday season. But do you believe now is a good time for a brand to say, no, I need to get involved with LoudCrowd now? And can it be turned on quick enough? And are there ways of kind of what I'm worried about is I don't want to give too much extra work to brands, but I also want to make sure that they get to utilize the potential upside that can happen by getting involved with you.
Yeah. I mean, I think it would be, if you're working on all your Black Friday campaigns right now, I think it'd be ambitious to say, hey, we want to start a creator program from scratch today.
That's true.
But what brands do, and we are starting partnerships every day. There's really small chunks that you can bite off in the next 3 or 4 weeks. One of our brands, brand that everybody's heard of is Kohl's.
Okay.
And they were one of our really early storefront partners. And they were just instrumental in helping us articulate some of these really, really powerful consumer use cases. And what they got really passionate about right off the bat, because they launched actually right before Black Friday a couple of years ago, they were really passionate about influencer gift guides. They've got lots of SKUs on their site. It is very, very overwhelming to, try to buy something from Kohls.com, particularly when you don't really know what, you're buying for somebody else. You don't really know exactly, what to be getting. Having an influencer curate a really, really cool gift is just such a powerful use case. And all credit to Kohl's for understanding that and as opposed to our team. But, that was something they really latched onto. And now lots of our partners have had similar success. And so, something small you can bite off before Black Friday is, hey, do we have a few creators that we want to feature their gift guides on our site? That's the kind of thing that you could set up in a day. So,
okay.
Our app is really, really quick to get added. It takes a creator 3 minutes to, curate their storefront on the page. If you've got 4 or 5 creators that you really just want to feature on your site and help inspire people around the holiday season, that would be something that's super, super easy and super possible, to get rolling for Black Friday.
So it's like a crawl, walk, run kind of process. Yeah.
I mean, listen, if you're building a creator program, creator programs are cool because the ROAS is so high that you can be showing return on investment really, really quickly.
Right.
But it does build over time. And so if you're like, hey, I got to run all this media for Black Friday, or I want to make that media more efficient and I'll work on building a creator program in December, that's probably the direction that more of our clients go in. Get through Black Friday and then, we'll work on building an organic creator program that's going to, be in the black for us for 10 years. We'll start working on that December, January.
No, I likely know the answer to this, but I want to just share it with the audience. So since you have a Shopify app and you connect to the store and that gives, the functionality for the creator to create their account and set the store up the way they like it and curate a few things. What about existing pieces of technology that are already embedded in the brand. The reason I say that is because, I do a lot of app audits, and a lot of people say, I don't want to add this next app on because I don't know if they're going to talk to each other. And I'm worried about the duct tape going on with too many apps. And so I just want to hear your mindset from a technical perspective about, working with Klaviyo or Yotpo. Like there's so many different pieces of tech that brands 100% have connected and they're working. And I want to make sure that if we add this, that they're all going to talk and work together.
Yeah, really good question. I think fortunately for the Shopify ecosystem, a lot of the same tools, like the ones that you mentioned at least, are getting pretty ubiquitous.
Yeah.
So, LoudCrowd obviously is very, very deeply integrated with, both of those two, Klaviyo and Yotpo.
Okay.
And really a lot of the other very, very popular Shopify tools. It's obviously something that people need to pay attention to. I would say the cool thing about our app is, in terms of like the things that you're going to be running on your site, it really is pretty isolated to we're going to build one page. And so there is not necessarily the same level of implementation that a Yotpo or a Klaviyo or one of these other tools are going to take where they're integrating with 1,000 different workflows. Like we're building a page and then we're getting creators into our program.
Right.
Now, to power that, a lot of times we do want to we're going to integrate with a brand's Klaviyo, and they can personalize all their emails if they want to. But all that is like the nice to have. Like we want to really level this program up. Getting started is it's very, very simple to integrate it with your existing tech, and by design, it's something that doesn't have to have overlap with the entire Shopify stack. It's pretty much isolated to a page and going from there.
Okay, perfect. So, what do you believe our next steps should be? I mean, we've covered a lot today, and I want to make sure that our listeners, they're likely very eager to say, okay, yeah, I think this is a great opportunity, and I just want to know what you believe that kind of the next steps are, the quickest way to kind of get involved with LoudCrowd.
Yeah, really good question. So I'd say for anybody out there that is, number one, thinking about how do I leverage more social commerce? How do I get social commerce on our site? Just go to our website and check out some of the use cases. It's really easy to find some example clients from there, and just seeing what storefronts look like and kind of, what it would look like on your homepage or what it would look like as an affiliate page. I think usually people are really, really impressed by, how cool of a product it is. So definitely give it a look. I would say on top of that, if you have a creator program, if you feel like, conversion rates or revenue needs to be a little bit higher, if you want to be focused on how do I automate and really scale a really, really strong creator community, we're great solutions for that as well. You can get a lot of that info from our website, and reaching out to our team. We're always happy to kind of provide examples of brands in your industry that we work with. So that's probably the best way to go about it.
All right, this is lovely. Okay, I'll make sure I have all this in the show notes. Gary, thank you so much for, I know we hustled to make this recording. I really wanted to make sure that we got this out. I knew that now, this Q4 season, if you don't have a creator program right now, or you don't feel it's very effective, this is a very unique opportunity. I think it's I'd argue maybe even like a superpower for some brands, knowing that you can actually create these creator pages like on your own brand. It just adds some more notoriety and authenticity versus it being done kind of elsewhere on other social platforms. And so I wish you continued success, and thank you for recording. Thank you for building this and helping. I know you've been doing it for a long time, but I just really appreciate it. I got so many notes here. It's always a good recording when there's lots of notes. Life of learning, right? So thanks so much for sharing this opportunity.
Yeah, thank you, Steve. Super fun talking with you, and super fun engaging with kind of all the stuff that you've built in the past too.
All right, great. Well, have yourself a great afternoon.
Thanks, you too.
Well, that's it for today's episode. I'd like to thank you personally for being a loyal listener of E-commerce Fastlane. It's my hope that this podcast is offering you a ton of value through growth strategies, tactics, and exclusive insider tips on the best Shopify apps and marketing platforms, all with my personal goal to help you build, manage, grow, and scale a successful and thriving company powered by Shopify. Thanks for investing some time today and listening to the show. I'm so proud and excited that you have a growth mindset and are a constant learner. I truly appreciate you and your entrepreneurial journey. Enjoy the rest of the week and keep thriving with Shopify.